Hello, my name is Esmeralda Montenegro, and today I'm here to talk to you all about farm workers in America. Have you guys ever thought about how your produce gets to your grocery store? In the 19th century, Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, and Mexicans made up most of the low-paying, physically demanding agricultural jobs here in the United States. In 1942, they created the Bracero Program, which was an agreement between the United States and Mexico to allow millions of Mexican men to come to the United States and work on short-term agricultural labor contracts. This was created during World War II when growers feared a shortage of labor workers due to World War II, as well as controversy for the domestic farm workers that fear competition. The Bracero Program had agreed to give payments as well as adequate, safe, and free housing, 3 to 4 months of employment, health insurance, decent, affordable meals, as well as a free trip back to Mexico. Now, while these immigrants were extremely grateful for an opportunity to come make a new life and earn money here, and were also very grateful, they still endured horrible conditions, mistreatment, and were not given what was promised to them by the government. This is still present to this day, and we're going to be discussing the former and current conditions of these farm workers, their experiences, as well as their current conditions with their contractors. The first thing that I'm going to be discussing is a very important man that made a huge impact during this time, and his name was Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez was born in 1927 in an immigrant farm worker family. He was in school and unfortunately dropped out due to discrimination and punishment for speaking Spanish in school. In 1939, his family moved to California, where they moved up and down the coast working on farms. This is when Cesar Chavez endured mere wages, corrupt contract laborers, as well as racism and unsanitary conditions. Later on, Cesar Chavez became a union worker, an activist, as well as a labor organizer. He founded the National Farm Workers Association in 1962, and then later on fled to a Filipino strike to help out. This boycott, the strike, was to bring awareness to these conditions of these farm workers. And also, this boycott and movement became so successful. It became known nationwide, as well as improved working conditions and raised salaries for workers in California, Texas, Arizona, and Florida. The Braceros, unfortunately, endured gross mistreatment and borderline slavery. They had unsafe living conditions, meager wages, constantly were disputing unpaid wages, as well as lack of representation. There are 2 gentlemen that had interviews and spoke about their experiences. Jesus Colmero was one gentleman. He's currently 85 years old. He talks about how he loved his experience to come into the United States, but the first thing that he experienced coming was becoming fumigated and then ordered to go wash it off. He also speaks about in Pasos, Texas, that they killed people, and it was called the Law of the Land. He later on moved to San Jose, had a family, worked a good job, and was able to get a citizenship. Another gentleman called Fidel Valeros also was very grateful for the program, but says he does not like to speak about his experiences in the program. What he does go on and talk about are his experiences in Mexico and his living conditions. He says he was a poor man and lost 3 children to poverty. He also talks about the Bracero Program being a business, that middlemen, Mexican lawyers, as well as the government were charging 300 to 400 pesos for these men to get these labor contracts. He says that they got rich off of them. Currently, undocumented immigrant and migrant workers make up half of the agricultural workers in the United States. 53% of those workers were born outside of the United States, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. These workers are still susceptible to disease and illness, high respiratory infections, still live in unsafe conditions, some without running water, or proper sanitary areas. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, they can still not implement these safety protocols installed by the CDC. Farm workers in America are an essential part of our food supply. Without them, these groceries would not go to the grocery store. Also, they still have very low healthcare rates. 24% of farm workers in America have health insurance. They also still endure these conditions and fear speaking up and talking about these labor law violations due to their immigrant status and fear of deportation. In 2019, they issued 200,000 H-2A visas from the H-2A Temporary Agricultural Employment Office. Farm workers are very grateful for this opportunity to come to the United States and make a living. However, they should not have to endure terrible conditions for a job that is essential for our American people. There are ways that we can make a difference here in the United States. We can take this to Congress and make farm workers become protected to a federal level, as well as make donations to organizations like the Farmers COVID-19 Pandemic Relief Fund, as well as just spreading awareness on social media and in the media in order to get this out into the public so people are aware of what's going on. I really hope that today you all got some information about the past and the present of these farm workers, and hopefully together we can all come together and make this world a better place for them. Hope you all learned something today. Thank you all very much.